receiver provides feedback. So, ang sender daw po is siya yung tagahatid ng mensahe while the channel is okay.
I-cut mo na lang. I-edit mo naman ata.
Ulit daw para hindi siya mahirapan.
Umulit ka na, Carms.
Okay. Wait. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. So, good day everyone. We are Group 2, and the assigned topic to us is entitled Cultural Diversity. So, I am Carmel Arroyo, one of the presenter, and together with me are Ella Ballester, Gail Vashti Cañeda, Mikey Lira Echigoyen, Sana Rose Iturius, Jennifer Malonda, Kirk Hamet Morato, Maria Elisabella Pasion, Mary Joyce Anta Duran, and Lovely Sanchez. Next slide. So first, we have the communication and cultural diversity. Effective communication is the cornerstone of successful interaction, but it becomes more complex and nuanced when cultural diversity is a factor. Cultural diversity influences not only the words we use, but also our nonverbal cues, communication styles, and the very structure of how we interact. So it means good communication is really important for people to understand each other well. But when people come from different cultures, talking can get more tricky. That's because culture affects not just the words we say, but also how we say them, our body language, and the way we like to have conversations. Different cultures have different habits and rules for communicating, so it's important to be aware of that to avoid misunderstandings. Next slide po.
Next is we have communication process and channels. So the communication process is a cyclical model involving a sender, a message, a channel, and a receiver. The sender encodes a message, transmitting it through a channel, and the receiver decodes it. The process is complete when the receiver provides feedback. So sa sender is siya yung tagatanggap ng mensahe, while the channel is parang kung sa paanong paraan ba sila nag-usap. Is either face-to-face, written, or digital. So, sa receiver naman is siya yung tagatanggap ng mensahe. So, we have verbal communication. So, the use of spoken or written words, different cultures have unique linguistic rules, dialects, and even approaches to tone, volume, and pace. Like, for example, some cultures use direct low context language while others rely on indirect or high context communication. So, dito is hindi lang po natin siya parang tinitingnan or binibase sa kung paano ba sila magsalita. Kailangan din po natin na parang tingnan din kung paano yung tono ng boses nila or gaano kalakas or kahina yung boses nila or gaano kabilis yung pananalita nila. Next.
For nonverbal communication, which is just as powerful, this includes facial expressions, gestures, and even personal space. But we need to remember that these can mean different things depending on culture. For instance, a gesture that's positive in one country might be offensive in another. Finally, the channel is the medium we use to send the message. It can be face to face, written like letters or emails, or digital like calls and chats. The channel often depends on culture and context. Some people feel comfortable with formal written communication, while others prefer in-person conversations. In short, communication is a cycle that connects people through different types and channels, and culture plays a big role in how we use them. Next.
Next is communication system. Communication systems refer to the pattern and flow of information within an organization or group. The first system is formal system. These are the official, structured channel for communication. They follow the organizational hierarchy and are used for official announcement, policies, and formal reports. The key characteristic of this type of system is it is structured, it is official, and it is written or scheduled. Example of this are memos, official meetings, and organizational charts.
Next, we have informal systems. This means these are the unofficial networks that exist outside the formal structure. They are often referred to as the grapevine and are crucial for building relationships and sharing information that may not be official. The informal system can be a powerful tool for building trust and morale. So this means that um, um, sharing information that may not be official, um, ibig sabihin, chismis or like and gossip, rumors, mga unofficial news na mabilis kumalat. And um, so unofficial. So an example po ng unofficial scenario mo na. Imagine na yung mag-change ka ng class schedule, tapos in a formal way, mag-fill out ka ng form, but pag informal system naman, pwede kang makipag-usap sa iyong counselor para mas mapadali yung proseso. Or eto, mas madali. Example, nasa soccer game. Tapos yung formal is mag-a-assign yung soccer coach based sa skill ng player. Yung informal naman is yung coach, pinasok niya yung anak ng best friend niya kasi even though na hindi yung anak ng tropa niya, kumpare niya, magaling, pinasok niya kasi nga, di ba, connection.
For the barriers to communication, barriers can prevent a message from being accurately understood. Cultural diversity introduces unique challenges. Language barriers, a literal inability to speak or understand the same. Language, this is a primary barrier, but it's often overcome through interpreters or learning key phrases. Cultural differences in nonverbal cues, these are misinterpretation of body language as an eye contact, gestures, and personal space that can lead to misunderstanding or offense. For example, direct eye contact is a sign of honesty in some culture, but can be seen as disrespectful in others. However, in other cultures, particularly those in parts of Asia, the Middle East, or the Latin America, prolonged or direct eye contact, especially with a person or highly social status, is considered rude, aggressive, or disrespectful. This cultural difference says can create a communication barrier where one person feels that they are showing respect while the other person feels uncomfortable or challenged, leading to a breakdown in understanding. Kurt.
Next po is ethnocentrism, the belief that one's own culture is superior to other. This also can lead to prejudice and unwillingness to understand different perspectives, creating a significant communication barrier. Stereotypes and prejudice, preconceived notions about individuals based on other cultural background can prevent open and unbiased communication.
So, barriers to communication. Barriers can prevent a message from being accurately understood. Culturally diversity introduces unique challenges. So, the first one is language barriers. So, a literal inability to speak or understand the same language. This is a primary barrier but is often overcome through interpreters or learning key phrases. And cultural differences in nonverbal cues, misinterpretation of body language, such as eye contact, gestures, and personal space, can lead to misunderstanding or offense. For example, direct eye contact is a sign of honesty in some cultures but can be seen as disrespectful in others. Ethnocentrism, the belief that one's own culture is superior to others. So, this can lead to prejudice and an unwillingness to understand different perspectives, creating a significant communication barrier. So, stereotypes and prejudices, preconceived notions about individuals based on their cultural backgrounds can prevent open and unbiased communication. Next po.
Next would be the communication skills. In terms of developing these skills, is essential for effective communication, especially in a cultural diverse environment. So there are four examples of communication skills, which are active listening, empathy, open-mindedness, clarity, and simplicity. In terms of active listening, it is the practice of fully concentrating on what is being said, both verbally and non-verbally, and understanding the complete message. So, in active listening, This affects not only the listening skills of the individual, but you have to be you have to um, make emphasis on the speaker's tone, gestures, facial expression. An example would be in a classroom setting with the teacher and international students. The teacher listens closely when a Japanese student speaks softly, ensuring the message is not overlooked. So, next would be empathy. It is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. In a cross cultural context, empathy involves trying to understand a person's perspective from within their cultural framework. So, empathy, this is where you empathize with others, like um, you are somewhat um, putting yourself into the shoes or the situations of others. So an example of this would be a student comforts a Muslim classmate who feels left out during a lunch activity because they are fasting for Ramadan. This is showing an understanding of their religious practice. In terms of open-mindedness, it is the willingness to accept and respect different cultural perspectives and ways of communicating without judgment. So, we have to um, give emphasis to that. We have to give emphasis that not everyone has the mindset or the thinking of others. So, an example of this would be a workplace team welcomes a new colleague's suggestion to start meetings with short mindfulness exercise, even if it's new to them. And lastly would be clarity and simplicity. This is using clearer, direct language and avoiding jargons, slangs, or idioms that may not translate well across cultures. So in a diverse cultures, we have to be concise, clear, and use simple terms kasi um, in cultural diversity, there are instances that not everybody has the capacity or the ability to talk in English. So that's why these four skills are interconnected. So an example of this would be a doctor explains medicine instructions to a patient using a step-by-step words, avoiding confusion with medical jargons. The doctor explains in the patient's um, uh, parang dictionary in a way that in a sense that the patient will understand. So the doctor is not using medical terms in terms of explaining. Next po.
Next is we have the organizational, interpersonal, and group communication operates in a different levels.
So, organizational, interpersonal, and group communication operates at different levels, each with its own dynamics. So, first one is orani, organizational communication. The flow of information throughout an entire organization. This includes top-down communication from management to employees, bottom-up communication from employees to management, and horizontal communication among colleagues at the same level. Interpersonal communication. So, the exchange of information between two or more people. This is a highly personal and relational form of communication, often influenced by the participants' individual communication styles and cultural backgrounds. The last one is group communication. The process of communication within a small group of people working toward a common goal. These can be complex, have an opportunity to be heard. Next po.
So next is we have the organizational communication strategies. So these are the methods that organizations use to improve communication, especially in diverse workplaces. So the first strategy is mandatory cultural competency training. This means that the organizations provide training sessions that help employees understand cultural differences, communication styles, and potential barriers. So the goal is to make the employees more sensitive and respectful toward different backgrounds. So for example, a company with employees from Japan and the United States. So in the US, being direct when speaking is considered efficient, but in Japan, people may communicate more indirectly to avoid offending others. Without training, these differences might cause conflict or misunderstanding. But with cultural competency training, employees learn that a pause or silence in Japanese culture can mean respect or careful thinking, not rudeness. So this way, workers know how to interpret actions correctly. This is essential because this creates awareness and reduces miscommunication, helping teams work more smoothly despite cultural differences. The second strategy is promoting diverse teams. So this strategy involves intentionally creating teams made up of people from different cultural, professional, or educational backgrounds. Having diversity allows for more perspective, which leads to creativity and innovation. For instance, let's say a company is launching a new product. If the team only includes people from the same background, the ideas may be limited. But if the team has members from different countries, age groups, and skill sets, they can create better solutions. For example, a employees younger employers might suggest promoting the product on TikTok, while older employees may point out traditional marketing like newspapers or radios. Combining both ideas makes the campaign stronger. So diverse teams encourage employees to adopt, listen carefully, and understand different communication styles, which improves teamwork. The last strategy is establishing clear communication channels. So this means setting clear rules and systems for how communication should flow within the organization. These include both informal communication, like reports or emails, and informal ones like team chats. For example, in hospital setting, nurses may be required to give shift reports through a standardized handover sheet. Or in our setting, this is what we call the Cardex. So this ensures that the incoming nurse knows exactly what to do for the patient. Meanwhile, for urgent issues, nurses can use a dedicated phone line to immediately inform the doctors. So this separation avoids confusion, wherein the staff don't waste time figuring out how to send important updates. So when communication channels are clear, everyone knows the proper way to share information. This reduces mistake and keeps the workflow organized. So all of these strategies mentioned are important because they help reduce misunderstandings, promote inclusivity, and improve collaboration in diverse workplaces. By applying these, organizations can create a healthier and more productive communication environment. Next slide po.
Parang nasa dagat si Lovely ah.
Di man kayo naka-on cam lahat.
Good night na.